So the thought that I've been having is speaking with somebody about maturity curves, and I really have grown to despise those maturity curves because they imply that you're going to go from like, you're going to first finish all this, and then you're going to go over here and do this, and pretty soon you're going to get to prescriptive and predictive and so on.
Yeah. And then 5 years later.
Yeah, 5 years later, everything's great. But truth is, everybody should be dabbling at every one of these stages right from the beginning, as they can. So the thing that's not in those curves is insight generation, and I think that this is where we do a lot of work to get information out into the edges of the organization, to HR business partners, to their corresponding business leaders, and we push out these things. And we've been getting better and better at moving from reports to dashboards to colorized heat maps to storyboards that have the leading questions there. But the expectation is still that those HR business partners or HR leaders and those business leaders are going to see this, and they're going to generate the relevant insight for their organization. They're seeing their own data, and we're expecting them to do that. So we do a bunch of stuff, right? We train them. Sometimes people even push out training on statistics, which I'm not sure those people are downloading and doing stats.
Yeah, well, I think, what we're seeing is there's kind of this massive gap between what's possible and how you actually get it adopted. So when you talk about insight generation, I kind of feel like there's this adoption issue as well with this sort of stuff. And I think that's arguably the biggest challenge around people analytics. It's around how do you actually get people to make decisions on data in a timely way, but how do you have the right data at the right time in the right place, and accessible and understandable, right? So that's kind of, for me, that's when insight is making a difference, as opposed to, kind of throwing it out there and then hoping for the best.
Right. Like, so you've got, you said decisions, right? So you've got, like, I would say there's insight, decision, and then the action itself, and then an outcome, right? So that insight piece, we're expecting everyone at the edges of the organization to use the stuff that we're producing. And I say we, meaning like our customers and people analytics broadly, not just like you, Tony and Nick. We're expecting them to do that. So I think what we've got is a human dependency situation, and for insight generation. And now this is where I want to turn it over to you, and we can take a look at some of the things you're building. Is if we augment those humans with some AI, we can have insights generated through AI that are going to help those HR business partners and leaders with that piece and accelerate that through. So we're not just depending on a wonderful layout and then insight will happen. We're going to augment. Right. So that's insight generation. That's automated insight generation, and it takes some of the task off of me, some of the cognitive load.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I think that if it's a trusted source and you can understand the curation of it, then you've got confidence, and we've sped up the decision making process. It's less effort on your side. I agree. That's kind of what we're aiming for as well, in terms of our product and how we go about things, from a one model perspective.
Yeah. So what does it look like in the tool if we look at some of the stuff that's coming out right now?
So let me just share my screen, and we'll take a look at a couple of things that are being worked on right now. So let me know when you can see.
Yep.
Okay, great. So we have a storyboard. So a storyboard that's, kind of about workforce composition. So, the topic isn't crazy exciting, but nonetheless, the data is important and it's kind of in that daily use category, right? So we could drill and zoom and kind of, get into kind of, data consumption at a detailed level. And we can also drill through structures and everything else. But what we can see is that every now and again, one of these visualizations has a light bulb. And that's where we can do more advanced things. So in this example, we can run a forecast. So, hey, there we go. In this next example, we can do a correlation or a line of best fit. This is the new one that I wanted to show in particular. Forecasting we've been doing for a while. But in this example, you can see we're actually explaining the correlation. So here we're actually saying in this example, there's a moderate positive linear relationship between these two variables, and that it's highly likely to be statistically significant. So we're using terms that the average person is going to understand. And importantly, if I wanted to dig deeper, I could just click on the little info icon here and I can see what the correlation coefficient is. I can see details on the metrics. I can have some insight into understanding and interpreting how this was put together. And there's a more expansive article that describes it in more detail. So what we're trying to do here is really take something that would normally be fairly dense in terms of scatter plots and understanding and correlations, and we're actually just explaining it to people. So in this way, we're democratizing insight generation, making it simple, making it easy to understand. Is there something significant here or not? And doing it in a very simple way. So so this is part of a big kind of expansive journey that we're on around automating insight for one model customers. But it's a great kind of first step, leveraging our AI and machine learning capability to make it simple and easy. And I think that's a key for all this stuff. There's no doubt we can create really advanced models, but doing it simply and easily, making everyone be able to understand it, is the biggest challenge, I think, in data science.
Yeah, right. And it's again, I picture this in terms of augmentation. We're not replacing the humans, we're augmenting the humans.
Yeah.
We're augmenting them in their effort to generate insights, which is one of the things we expect. I don't know if you can tell, but this idea is such a bright light. It's like roasting off half of my face. As the sun has started to shine.
Perfect.
Yeah, so this is exactly what I was talking about.
See the light, Nick.
Right.
So with this though, also you can see I just hit on another one just to show you that it's important also to see when things are not significant, right? So in this example, you can say, hang on, okay, these things are not related. So in this case, let's think differently about it. So depending on the variables I've chosen and everything else, I'm actually going to get feedback, which is really important. So this is not a significant combination of things. I need to look differently or look at other stuff.
But the same view, if a different leader went in there and was looking at their organization, that same chart with the same feature of the light bulb is going to potentially say it's a strong positive or a strong negative, and
different things depending on the sample of data and everything else. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and we're doing the heavy lifting in the background to make sure that we're picking the right correlations, and we're doing things like understanding significance and interpreting it in the right way. So maybe we can do a follow-up with our data science team around how we're actually doing that, because I think that's really differentiated again, because there are lots of bad use of statistics out there in the world, and we definitely, from a one model perspective, have a very high kind of ethical standard and want to make sure that we apply that to the work that we do, because we're dealing with people's lives in HR, and we want to get that right.
Right. So let's do that. Let's have Taylor come on and join us.
Yeah.
And because working with the team and having them explain that certain types of variables are going to be better to evaluate with certain types of models. So in the background, it's not just automatically running a simple regression. It's choosing the type of analysis that's appropriate for the types of variables, depending on their individual characteristics, distribution, et cetera. So it's super cool stuff. Okay, so we'll do that next. But this kind of, just to wrap up, insight generation is something that we need to create as practitioners. We need to create insight generation, and we need to enable that. And we've all been working on that for a while, teaching HR business partners how to use the tools and things like that. We're all trying to get them to generate the insights on their own. This layer is going to keep growing. The way AI interplays with the tools that people are using is going to help those people to generate those insights faster. And that's what I'm pretty excited about. Hey, Tony, thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. And we will, I think we'll continue with some more of the data science piece of this. And so everyone, you can expect to see more on insight generation from us over the next handful of installments of this video content. So thanks for being with us. Join us again. See ya.
Thanks a lot. Take care of that sunburn.